Guys, thank you so much for coming. This is super early for me. I mean, I wouldn't even be waking up before 10 a.m. if it was a regular day. Um, so I'll try my best to pull off the session and keep you guys engaged and entertained. Um, like my friend Alan and host introduced, I am Raghav. I'm Dr. Raghav Hunasgi. I am the co-founder and CMO at Zeebu. And at Zeebu, we do what we call as instant settlement for telecommunication carriers. So before I start my session, I want to give you a little bit of glimpse around what is this whole telecommunication carrier. What does it mean and what do they do? So let's say you are here in Singapore using Singtel as your telecom operator and you want to call your friend in US who is using AT&T as their service provider, as their operator. When you make this call from Singapore to United States, the AT&T, there are multiple players that make this call happen. And these multiple players are called telecom carriers. Most of the times you might have noticed when you dial an international call, you will start hearing the beep 3 times before the call connects. So when the beep is happening, the carriers are doing their job in the back end. They are trying to connect your call and make it happen. So for one international call, there can be 2 telecom carriers, 3 carriers, 5 carriers, or 10 carriers. There will be multiple telecom carriers who will make these calls happen. Be it call, be it data, be it SMS. Lot of carriers are involved in making this happen, and that is exactly who we work with. We help these telecom carriers do an instant settlement of their invoice. Now you may ask me, Raghav, why do we need this? Why do we need to help these carriers to do an instant settlement? Because obviously they might be doing a settlement using a bank transfer, using a wire transfer. Why Zeebu and why now? The answer to that is lot of emerged markets take anywhere between 2 hours to 24 hours to 48 hours to do the settlement, and the emerging markets take somewhere from 2 days to 3 days to 5 days, and all the way goes up to 19 days. So for us to help these people, to help these carriers make settlement instant, we use our platform Zeebu. A little bit of background and story about how Zeebu emerged. We've been partnered with Bankai Group, which is a leading telecom carrier who also happens to be our anchor investor. We had a good news last week where we brought in about $25 million of funding. So Bankai Group happens to be world's largest telecom carrier. Working closely with them, my founder and CEO and my other co-founder realized that there is a big need for a technology, a block 3, a crypto to come in and help. And that's how Zeebu was born. And what I'm going to do is take you through a quick journey of what we do, what kind of industry problem are we tackling, and how is Zeebu helping telecommunication carrier industry. So if you look at the whole scope and scale of the landscape of opportunity, we have about 5.7 billion mobile subscribers and over 800 operators. The potential of this market is over $120 billion, and we take pride in saying we are the first of its kind in the industry who is bringing a Web3 solution to solve this problem. We are the first of its kind who is fully geared up to tap into this opportunity. So that's a quick overview of the industry that we are addressing. Now we come to the paradox, right? I mean, why do we need this? While the technology in many other areas have advanced, like I said, in many emerging markets, even today, a wire transfer, a bank settlement takes anywhere between 5 days, 10 days, and can go up all the way to 19 days. Whereas the industry itself, the telecommunication carrier industry or the telecom operators industry, is a 24/7 industry, which means the calls are happening 24/7. While it is daytime in US, it probably is a nighttime in Indian subcontinent, or while it is night in India, it is a noon in UK. So the whole world is operating 24/7. When the business is 24/7, it is inevitable for the financing and the invoice settlement also to be 24/7, which unfortunately doesn't happen. Banks work only 5 days in a week, and that's where a player like Zeebu comes in and helps. And we have realized that in the very first quarter of our existence, humongous amount of positive response has come from the telecommunication carriers that we are working with. I will touch upon a little bit about where we are in terms of our partnerships, where we are in terms of our engagement with different carriers. But the bottom line is, this is making one of the industry's most painful area, settle immediately, settle now, and settle the whole problem. So what Zeebu aims at doing is, we are revolutionizing the entire settlement, be it cross-border, be it within the continent, settle and help the carriers realize their payments within their accounts in a matter of few minutes. And how are we doing it? We are using it through Zeebu tokens, and the ticker for that is ZBU. Now, we started the whole efforts. I'll walk you through the entire journey of how Zeebu started. But in the last 2-3 years from the time we started developing the platform, we did multiple iterations to make sure that we perfect the model out. That way, both from a technology standpoint and from a business standpoint, it helps and makes the whole life of carriers easy. So we aim to tackle 4 most important things. One, obviously we are aiming at simplifying the B2B settlements, which means we want to take the pain of waiting multiple days, multiple hours for the carriers. We are eliminating all the intermediaries. Today the industry is suffering from a big problem of intermediaries, and with Zeebu all the intermediaries come to an end. We are trying to make sure that the settlements are fast and are real time, which means when I raise an invoice to a carrier B, all they have to do is review the invoice, verify if the invoice is right, and once the invoice is good and correct, all they have to do is click on settle now, and the invoice is settled. That's what we do. The last and most important thing which blockchain brings is the transparency, trust, and compliance. And we are leveraging blockchain to the hilt. One of my co-founder, Keshav, was a leader in blockchain development, and he's a man behind Zeebu's technology and the whole business flow for the platform. Before running Zeebu and before building this whole spacecraft for us, he was instrumental in launching about 15 plus very successful tokens. He has also worked extensively on helping many of the exchanges go live across multiple continents. Now, one thing that we had as a very serious challenge when we embarked on this journey was dealing with all these infinite finances, dealing with compliance between multiple geographies and multiple countries, which means I am doing a settlement from Middle East to a carrier in Africa. The financial norms, the financial compliance is different for each continent. So how do we solve this? That is where my other co-founder and CEO, Raj, came in handy. Raj, who is our CEO, is a financial wizard. He's been working on multiple financial engineering models, so that kind of simplified the problems. So the whole journey started in the year 2020 when we first thought about the problem in the industry. Like I said, our anchor investor came in with this problem saying, one of the most critical and most painstaking problem for all the carriers is the settlements, and how do we help these carriers do it? We were not very sure, and the intent was also not to launch our own token. The intent was purely to help the industry. The intent was purely to help these telecom carriers solve this problem. So in the year 2021, when we started doing initial survey and initial A/B testing, we realized that there were about $10 million of settlement that happened using the stable token USDT, and we knew that there was an immediate opportunity there. Then we hired the market research team across 4 different subcontinents, and the whole job of this market research team was to understand how many of these merchants, how many of these carriers are today ready to settle using a crypto, right? Or settle using a Web3 platform. And that is when we realized over 70% of telecom carriers were extremely comfortable in settling using a token. And in year 2022, we settled upwards of $20 million in the settlement for these carriers. So that's when in 2023 we decided we should launch our own native token, and that's how Zeebu was born. Today, Zeebu is the only crypto and only Web3 solution that helps telecommunication carriers across the world settle their invoices. In the last 8+ months of our existence as an official token, here are some of the key milestones that we have achieved. Like I said, we very recently announced funding of $25 million that we received. Other than this $25 million, we have also secured a term sheet upwards of $100 million. As we speak, our legal team is working on evaluating these term sheets. We have partnered with over 100 telecommunication carriers, be it the leading telecom carrier in Africa, in North America, in Canada, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and in India. All of them are our partners, and they're all ready to go. We have Zeebu token already listed on LBank, MEXE, and we are in talks with multiple other exchanges for listing the token. All the information about our token is ready on the CoinMarketCap and on the CoinGecko. You can go there and check more information about our volume and how we are thriving. And the last thing is we have crossed about 140,000 plus community users on our Telegram and Twitter, and we are growing with every passing hour. With that said, what next for us at Zeebu? For us, the next biggest thing is the global expansion. Like I said, we have been successfully able to stitch partnerships across 11 countries now, and we are looking at growing it to over 50 countries in next 1 quarter. We are expanding our teams globally. The majority of our team sits in the Middle Eastern market. We operate from Dubai. That's where we are headquartered. We also have our significantly large presence in New York, in US, and also in the Indian subcontinent. The next thing that we are aiming at is building genuine community of thought leaders, community of champions, community of advocates, and community of believers of Zeebu. That is what, as a marketing, that's the goal we have. And in terms of the milestone, we now want to make sure that we enhance our technology platform. Our founding team is extremely cautious, and we are very aware that a great technology platform brings a great story. So that is going to be our next focus. And in terms of our overall presence for the retail buyers, we are extremely conscious that our retail buyers should also benefit from what is happening in the B2B world. Zeebu, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, is the first of its kind B2B token. And one of the things when we launched is we spoke to many of the industry's leading analysts, and we said, this is our idea, this is how we want to launch. The feedback that we got was, hey, this is a great business idea, this is a great problem you're solving, but how will you help retail investors to cash on the opportunity? The answer to that is very simple. When we are solving industry's most painful problem, when we are doing something genuinely good for the industry, and when we are pushing the telecom carriers industry 1 notch higher, the byproduct of that will always be benefit to all the retail buyers and all our community members. And that's how we are addressing the overall growth for our retail buyers and retail investors. That's a quick sneak peek into Zeebu. We are there on the 5th floor. We are exhibiting. We are also the gold sponsors. And like Alan mentioned, we are also the proud sponsors for the after party, which is happening on 15th. Please do stop by at our booth. You can see a lot of our Zeebu staff roaming around on all the floors. Feel free to stop any one of us. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. And like every other crypto story, I would request all of you to like, share, engage with all our communities across all our social media channels. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.